Been tracking down a terrorist, the latest from Belgium. And Vote 2016 results from Arizona, Utah, and Idaho. News Channel 3 at 11 starts now.
Live, up and down the coast, from the beaches to the valleys. At 11, this is KEYT News Channel 3, where the news comes first.
Three explosions rock Belgium's capital, killing dozens of people. It is our top story tonight at 11. An intense manhunt is on for at least one terrorist suspect, and we know more tonight about the UCSB students caught in the middle of that violence. Good evening, everybody. I'm CJ Ward. Those two UCSB students were not hurt. The death toll now stands at 31. Hundreds more were hurt. And tonight, the search for those responsible for those bombings is intensifying. And News Channel 3's Tracy Lair spoke with a UCSB professor who knows the students who survived. But first, we begin tonight with Molly Hunter, who is live in Brussels with new information on the hunt for the killer.
Good evening. The clock ticking closer to that 24-hour timestamp since those deadly attacks, and the search is still on here for that suspect.
Brussels is under darkness as ongoing raids continue across the European country. The manhunt for this man, who authorities have now identified as a suspect in the airport attacks. Investigators say it all started around 8 a.m. Tuesday morning. Two bombs exploding. The terminal filled with smoke, chaos, people frantically running for safety.
Big bang, everybody cried and came along here. We saw kind of smoke, you know.
The force so great, ceilings collapsed, people lying on top of one another. And the horror continued. 9:11 a.m., just an hour after the airport explosions, 7 miles away, another suicide bomb goes off near the offices of the European Union. The target, a packed metro car. Children screaming in fear.
It's the first time I saw such a thing in my life.
The aftermath leading to hundreds of injuries, among those 9 Americans, including Mormon missionaries Richard Norby, Joseph Empey, and Mason Wells, all seriously hurt. With Brussels now under siege back in the States, law enforcement officials are beefing up security at major transportation hubs across America, including in New York City, a top target.
There remains no credible and specific threat against New York City.
Here, a city in mourning, and signs of solidarity, messages of hope and condolences.
The threat level here remains at that highest level, and now the State Department warning Americans against travel to Europe, saying that terrorists are planning attacks right now. Molly Hunter, ABC News, Brussels. Back to you.
Okay, and now to those UCSB students who are here that were in Belgium at the time those bombs went off. They are safe tonight. They're staying in touch with their professors and their families back here at home. News Channel 3's Tracy Lair spoke with their advisor today. And Tracy, what a terrifying situation to be in.
Absolutely. And UCSB has about 1,000 students studying abroad this quarter. They don't have a special program in Belgium, but 3 students were traveling through the country when the bombings happened. When terrorists attacked the Brussels airport, 2 UCSB students survived in another part of the airport and a third in another part of Belgium.
After the incident occurred and we had a report from the students, so we knew they were safe already. We didn't know they were there at first, but then afterwards we knew that they were safe.
Their Education Abroad faculty director isn't at liberty to name the young women, but Juan Campos says they were likely enjoying their spring break by taking trips away from their hosts in Spain.
They were actually at the airport and couldn't get their flight. I think they were about ready to take a flight, and obviously because of the explosion, they were evacuated from the building, and they had to find lodging and then continue their travel over land.
This isn't the first time UCSB has had students studying abroad during terror attacks, uprisings, and disasters. They've had students study in France, Egypt, and Japan, just to name a few.
The major incidents, yes, that's we have insurance that covers their evacuation, emergency evacuation. All of our students are on lists that wherever they are, we know how to contact in case of emergency evacuation being needed.
There are counselors available if they need someone to talk to. And Professor Campos has a conference to attend overseas in May and plans to visit Belgium, and he has no plans to cancel that trip. In Santa Barbara, Tracy Lair, News Channel 3.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. And security is tight at U.S. airports, subway systems, and train stations. Police presence is high right now. Bomb-sniffing dogs are checking luggage, and authorities say they have no evidence of a planned attack here, but they are worried about copycats. The FBI has increased surveillance on known terrorist suspects living here in the U.S.
The most important part of a terrorist investigation is to prevent the act before it happens.
Public can play a critical role here. If you see something, say something.
And the U.S. has not raised the terror threat due to the lack of a credible threat. And for the latest on the Belgium terror attack, visit KEYT.com.
3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of the Atlas V rocket.
A spectacular sight over the skies of Cape Canaveral, Florida. The weather nearly perfect for tonight's Atlas V launch. The rocket blasted off, filled with supplies bound for the 6-man crew aboard the International Space Station. Closing arguments began today in the Jane Lout murder trial. The Oxnard woman is charged with killing her husband, Olympic medalist Dave Lout. The murder happened in the couple's backyard in August 2009. The trial started in February, and today the prosecution gave its closing arguments.
But when you choose a firearm, when you choose a handgun that is loaded with 6 shots, and you use all 6 shots to shoot him when he's standing, when he's down, when he's down, and when he's turned to you, that is a clear intent to kill. That is malice aforethought. And that is murder.
Defense attorney Ron Bamier will give his closing arguments tomorrow. He claims Lout killed her husband in self-defense. 3 big Western primaries, and tonight the votes are in, at least most of them. Plus, a high-powered Hillary supporter comes calling in Santa Barbara. See the excitement stirred up by former President Bill Clinton. Plus, ever heard of a Give-a-Palooza? We'll show you how it works and how it's helping out a great cause. That's coming up on News Channel 3 at 11.
And all those strong winds we saw earlier today in Santa Barbara kept temperatures again in the 70s. We're one of the warmest spots locally. But tomorrow, some good news ahead. Everyone sees less wind and everyone starts to warm things up. The detail when we come back.
Live, CJ Ward, Chief Meteorologist Alan Rose, and Mike Clan Sports. This is KEYT News Channel 3, where the news comes first.